Hi. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that's noticed that Warner Brothers and DC Comics keep trying to push the Suicide Squad into the mainstream. Like, it started with the 2016 movie, which was pretty bad and was generally poorly received. Then they made the sequel in 2021 with James Gunn, and although I haven't been able to see it, and it was a commercial failure because of the environment in which it was released, it was well received. But then they released the Kill the Justice League game in 2024, which bombed spectacularly, and the reception was just atrocious. And as of the making of this video, 4 episodes of an anime have been released. Now, it's a bit too early to make a proper judgment of it, but Go Getters is a banger, so go check that one out. Callie knocked it out of the park. Okay, so clearly, DC Comics, Warner, I don't know, they want to make this the next big thing. But the situation is kind of weird, no? Like, unlike the Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a team of unknown comic book characters that were able to become one of the most beloved parts of the MCU, the Suicide Squad, although better known now by general audiences compared to before their jump to the big screen, are still met with a certain amount of apathy. At least that's the impression that I get from content about them online, but this might be skewed. Still, I believe that most of this fault lies not with the concept of the squad itself, but instead with the direction and quality of the released products. Well, more specifically the 2016 movie and the game, as both commit a few mistakes that underutilize the strengths of the squad. The first thing is quite obvious. It's in the name, in fact. This is the Suicide Squad. Characters are meant to die during the mission. Now, I know some might think, how is this a strength of the team? But I think that it is because it's something you can't really do with any other superhero or superhero adjacent team. Imagine if they killed off half of the Avengers, Justice League, Guardians, etc. in their respective showings. I'm sure that would piss off a lot of people. But the squad? I mean, sure, it has a few favorites, and I doubt that DC will ever let Harley die if she's part of the team, but most of the time it's composed of not even C-list villains. This ability to kill your characters so normally also lets you raise the stakes to levels that you wouldn't usually see in normal superhero media. After all, the expectation of a superhero is that they'll be able to push through whatever troubles them and save the day. Now, I recognize that this particular strength, as I call it, would be a bit hard to pull off in a game, but I want to discuss my thoughts on that matter a bit later on in the video. Now, something that might be recognized by now is that this is something that the James Gunn movie did do. Like I said, I haven't really been able to watch it, but there are plenty of clips on YouTube, and some key members of the squad don't come out of the mission. And that is exactly what I'm talking about. It just makes sense. Hell, the animated Assault on Arkham movie does this too, and although it's not the only reason these movies are better than the 2016 one, it helps. The second thing is aided by the first, and it's actually really short. By killing off so many members, you get the opportunity to use more characters than any other team. I mean, you gotta make the numbers, right? This can introduce new gimmicks for action sequences that previously would have been impossible, and new dynamics between characters, making everything feel fresh. Yeah, that's it, I told you, it was short. Now, again, to be honest, having said that, I also recognize that killing your characters so flippantly can make it hard for audiences to familiarize and connect with them, and if you keep certain characters in a sort of pedestal, the stories would become very predictable. After all, if you only introduce new team members to kill them while a core cast remains basically intact, the tension is gone and it gets boring. That is why I mentioned the James Gunn example of doing things right, as he avoids that pitfall by eliminating 2 core members. The next thing I wanted to mention is a problem shared by both the original movie and the Kill the Justice League game, which is the scale of the problem the squad has to face. You see, I don't know about you, but I've thought that the Suicide Squad are better suited for essentially Black Ops missions. After all, they're a team that Waller uses for whatever problem she has. And these problems are usually dirty, the sort of thing you don't want the public to know about. So why in the ever-living fuck do they keep putting them in these end-of-the-world scenarios? In the first movie, they even show Batman and Flash, yet neither try to stop the Enchantress. Then in the game, you really expect me to believe that these 4 idiots could really beat the League? I mean, sure, they wrote rather convoluted reasons as to how and why, but why bother in the first place? Now, focusing on the game for a bit, I truly believe that a Suicide Squad game set in the Arkham universe could work really well. Taking some inspiration from the animated movie, they could have made it so that someone at Gotham has a piece of information that Waller wants, and the team has to go get it while trying to hide their activities, all the while Batman is chasing you down like his name is Mr. X. Imagine that. As the player, you would know fully well what this version of Batman would be capable of. And to top it off, getting captured by him would be an instant death. Not because Batman kills you, but because Waller wouldn't risk you getting interrogated and would blow your goddamn head off. I feel like with a bit of creativity, this idea could be turned into a single player or multiplayer game, to feed the live service ghouls at Warner, but it would be vastly different compared to what was actually released. Still, I think it would also play better into the idea of the squad rather than having them kill off some of the most powerful characters in the entire DC universe. So, yeah, I feel like as a concept, the squad has certain unique strengths compared to other teams, but because of short-sightedness, greed, or just plain stupidity, neither Warner or DC are making good use of them. Hopefully things will change because even if I'm not a big fan of the squad, I prefer getting good products instead of mediocre ones. Thanks for watching.